This will be a recording on how to use your iPhone to composite photographs. I'm using an iPhone 7, and I'm going to be using a program that's relatively new. It's called Photoshop Mix. This is actually a free download from Adobe. You can get it through the Apple App Store, and you do need to have a Adobe ID and password, but I don't think that costs anything, although most people have it because they have either Lightroom or desktop Photoshop in some way. Now, when we're dealing with this recording, you won't see my finger pressing the keys, but you will see the effect of pressing on the screen. So I'm going to open up my Photoshop Mix. It has several tutorials that you can go through, and they're quite good, explaining all the different functions. The plus sign up in the upper right is how to start a new image. I typically use pictures that I have on my iPhone, but what's nice about this whole program, or this app, I should say, is that it also connects into your Lightroom CC, so that if your image is not on the camera roll, you can, and it is on Lightroom CC, you can use that also. So I'm going to use this picture that I took today. We had to have a big hole dug in our front yard to get down to our sewer connection. Even though there was nothing wrong, the city insisted on us replacing this perfectly functioning thing. So here's the first photograph, and you can see the big hole. It was some 6 feet deep to get to the thing. Then I'm going to add, using the plus button, a second image, and when we were standing outside, the neighbors were coming by and they were saying, well, are you digging for treasure? Are you looking for a dead body? You know, there was all these kind of jokes that were going on. And as I'm standing there thinking about this and saying, maybe I can put a body into this, even though this is the workman that's over there in the yellow vest. But I'm going to hit the plus sign again, and I'm going to go to image. And I actually do have a picture of it's a mannequin on the side. I found this in the back of a building in Santa Cruz. It was probably somebody's sculpture. And, a lot of times I just when I'm walking around, I always have my iPhone with me, and I'm just taking pictures that maybe I can use to composite. And then when I have a chance, I'm not doing anything, I'm out, we're waiting for a restaurant, or we're sitting in a waiting room or something like that, I'll pull these things out and I'll start working on them. So I've got the image here on top of the mannequin. It's selected, as you can see, by the blue border, and the thumbnail is also selected. So I'm going to go to the toolbar, and I'm going to use cutout. Now, the cutout that they have a variety. You have an auto, which I haven't really figured out how to use. There's a smart tool, which is like the quick select, and then there are some basic tools. Let me show you how to use the smart one. I'm going to press down on the and it should start selecting just the area that I want. Now, I'm not going to be able to make it completely. You can see it goes a little bit over. So I'm going to sort of look around and say, well, that's pretty good as far as the selection goes. And I'm going to then hit the check mark to accept that. I can always come back and see it, repeat it later. Now I'm going to move this and perhaps bring it down a little bit so I can get it sort of in the right position. So it looks like the body is in the grave. Now, I know I'm going to have to take out some of the, mask off some of the legs so that it looks like the body is sitting on down in the bottom. So I can go back to cutout, and this time I'm going to use the basic tool with an eraser, and you can change the size moving up and down, make it soft, and I'm just going to very carefully erase some of that stuff. I'll make it a little bit bigger so I can get I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you know, you get the idea that how you can and so now we have the body sort of in the grave. Now I'm going to also make some overall changes. If I select the bottom layer, I can make adjustments, and the typical adjustments are, exposure and contrast. I don't really want to do that. I want to go to the looks, and there are two sort of black and white ones, and I sort of like that sort of low contrast, and that looks kind of good. Now, one of the things that you can do with any one of these, you can set it to the color one, or here's another one, but you can pick up the selection, and I'm going to just start with a smart selection, and I'm just going to select this area here first. And then I can actually invert it so that only the outside is, I'm switching to a basic brush, and I'm just going to add to that selection there. Again, I can make the brush size bigger or smaller. And I say, okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to go to the mannequin. I can do the same thing. I can go to looks, and I thought what would be kind of fun is that there's a sepia tone. And that looks pretty good. So here we have, now somehow this area didn't turn to black and white. Let's see if we can fix that. And I want to go to looks, go to select, basic selection. So you go to the share icon, and you can send it to the camera roll. That's the easiest way to do it. But you can also send it to your Lightroom CC, which is kind of nice also, because then it will sync with your desktop. Nice program, and relatively easy to use, and there are a lot of options. And I would recommend taking a look at this.